Hey guys, it's Jenna, the owner of Elevate in Nelson, BC, and also the owner of Elevate Beauty Education and Elevate Beauty Supply. I'm here with another episode of Classic Lash 101. And so we're creating this series for you guys because there's just so many questions I am asked when we are having students approach us about whether or not they should be taking a course, a lash course, if this is the right course for them, how they should go about it so that they can be best prepared, all these different things. And so I'm just tackling topic by topic so you guys can pick out which ones resonate most with you. So this topic is all going to be about how do you know if you're going to be a good lash extension artist to begin with? How do you know if you'll like it? These are really important questions, and it can be really hard to know this in general. You really won't know until you start doing it. But there are some precursors, some indications or some red flags even that you will have of yourself. Just knowing yourself, whether or not this is going to be something that you like and you're going to want to stick with, something that is going to work with your body and your lifestyle. So I've got a couple suggestions for you, but before that, please head to the link down below. We've created a little cheat sheet for you to make things super easy, a little interactive cheat sheet to help you decide whether or not lashes would be the right thing for you and whether it would be a career that would make you happy. So now let's talk about those suggestions. I would recommend first thinking about your body. So how does your body like to move? Are you okay sitting for hours at a time? You really, as a lash artist, you have to be okay with sitting for about 4 hours. This is the real story. This is the truth of the matter. When you're first starting, it takes a lot of patience. You have to be able to have that unbroken concentration because you are going to be doing models and it's going to take you that long to complete a set for the full time. So you have to be able to enjoy doing these detailed work. If you like arts and crafts, that can be a great indication that you would love it too. If you are a very details oriented person, like if it really brings you a lot of satisfaction to like be doing detailed cleaning or something like that, that's a great indication of whether or not you would like that. You have to have a little bit of OCD in order to be able to really be able to zone out and zen out instead of feeling frustrated and feeling like bored. So if you are really on point, like if you're made to be a lash artist, like myself, I've done 12-hour days back to back of lashing, and it's like a Zen meditation for me. It really is not the biggest challenge for me because it's like a time warp. I get into that zone and I'm doing that, and time is flying by. It's like this wonderful little meditation time warp. But for other people, they'll be sitting there for the same amount of time and it will feel like an eternity. So you definitely want to think, am I that kind of person who can do detailed work for a long time, or would I get frustrated? Would I get bored? Would I get fidgety? You definitely will probably know if you're one of those people in advance. And if you are, just know going into it, you can train yourself out of those things, but it's just going to take you a little bit more time. So just be aware of that when you're thinking about your career. Another thing on the physical level would definitely be, are you prone to back aches and stuff like that? If you have poor posture or you have prior existing injuries that are related to your back or possibly your hands, something like that, and it's really hard for you to maintain positions for a long period of time, then that also might be an indication that it might not be the right thing for you. But if you're okay sitting at a desk for a period of time or anything like that, then you will be definitely okay, I would say. With lash artistry, you just have to really be mindful of your posture so you don't develop anything. And another thing would be definitely your hands. So steady hands are really key. I know that there are some people who are born with shaky hands. So if you do have shaky hands, there are lots of things that you can do to try and either train your hands out of this, or you can do elimination diets and trying to avoid certain foods and certain things that might trigger you this way. So for instance, when I first started, I've always thought I had steady hands, but it really comes out whether you actually do once you start lashing. And I did have a little bit of a shake, and I learned for myself, I cannot have caffeinated coffee at all. And I actually loved cutting out caffeine. I didn't notice how sweaty it made me. I didn't notice how anxious it made me. My level of anxiety, it dropped so much after I cut out coffee. Sweats also, things like that. I didn't realize that you could have decaf coffee and really feel the same way about it and not get the negative side effects. So for me, that really solved my little hand wobble. And so that would be something that you could look at as well. Alcohol consumption can be a big thing too. Some people, it will cause their hands to shake. So you might want to try cutting out all alcohol too, to make sure about that. And also there's hereditary things. So you can see your doctor. I'm not a medical professional about this, and he would be able to advise you definitely whether this is a hereditary thing to work around or if this is something that maybe is dietary or something like that. I did actually have to work with an RMT also after I did start this. Thank you so much, Alex Forsyth. And we will link her below here if you're in the Nelson, BC area. She is amazing if you have any kind of like arm wrist thing happening. When you are a lash extension artist, you are using those muscles, those fine micro muscles, so much more than anyone else. And especially if you're, whatever your dominant hand is, the non-dominant hand is gonna get a workout. And that is gonna be the one that's gonna be like, whoa. So you really have to go and take care of that hand because it's building up its strength super fast and it needs to be super steady for a long time. So if you do not mind those muscle groups and the nerve pathways and really keep on it with an RMT, you can develop shakes and stuff like that, numbness, some other very bad things. So working with an RMT is another way to get across that. But you know, some simple tests to see if your hand is shaky or not is just holding them out. And if you can't hold them steady, if you see a shake, then you might want to try cutting some of these things out beforehand or visiting your doctor before you invest in the course, because you don't want to waste your money, of course. But yeah, in my experience, nervousness can be a huge thing that will make you shake too. And that can be trained out. So there are some factors with hands that are definitely worth considering before. And if you need to go to your doctor, like screen all that stuff out so that you can have confidence in your decision. Because if you do have a really shaky hand and you're not able to eliminate the dietary things before, maybe you want to look at something else that's not going to require so much of a steady hand. And there are lots of other services that could potentially be okay with that. But just lash extensions really requires a steady hand. So besides attention and patience and your steady hand, there's also attention for symmetry, and general aesthetics is definitely something that you'll want to have. So you'll know if you're one of those girls who's always loved aesthetics and makeup and like watching YouTube videos, tutorials on how to do your makeup or how to make things prettier. If you have that aesthetic eye already developed, it's going to be so much easier than if you don't and it doesn't come naturally to you and you are kind of not really experienced in that area. It's not to say that it can't be taught, but you're just not going to have that intuition. You're not going to catch up as fast as lots of the girls who they already have an eye for it. So if you have an eye for beauty, that is also a great indication that you would be a great lash artist. So do you like people? Do you connect with people? That's going to be a huge thing in your career as a lash artist. If you are the kind of person who doesn't like talking to people, doesn't like really developing a relationship with people, these are going to be services where you're going to see your client every couple of weeks for an hour and a half. If that sounds painful to you, if you hate talking to people one-on-one for an extended period of time, you might not want to consider doing this job, because even if you are good at it, you might not really excel, because client relationships are the key to your business growing or your practice growing. And really, it's the key to actually enjoying this as well, because if you don't enjoy your relationship with your clients or with people in general, then it's always going to be something that is just going to wear on you. The more you work, the more it's going to just wear on you. You really do have to want to be connecting with people and putting yourself out in the public. Also, our previous video, I'm not sure if you've checked out the rest of the videos in the Classic Lash 101 series, but we have gone through, our previous video was all about why it's so important to try this service before you attempt to be trained for it. And so that is also another indication if you are going to possibly like this service, because I'll tell you, if you are offering something that you do not really truly believe in, if you are not a believer, if you're not a subscriber to the service, if you do not really love extensions, then you are going to have a really hard time excelling in this industry because you just won't be as passionate. If you do not like wearing them, if you don't like the look on other people, you can't just get in this business and be like, I'm going to make a bunch of money. Like, I'm going to sell like something I don't like and I'm going to put it on a bunch of people and I'm not going to like it, but I'm just going to do it for money. This is going to get you this far. Like, if you want to go this far, you have to like what you're doing. So try it before you buy it. Go out, get extensions, try the service. And if you are already a huge subscriber and lover of lash extensions, then you will know already. It's a big indication of whether or not you're going to love the industry too, because you really have to have a passion for it and be interested in new styles and new techniques. And kind of once you know that joy for yourself of wearing lash extensions, it is so much more rewarding to be able to spread that joy to other people. And you really do empathize with them in a different way because their struggles are your struggles with lash retention and just like changing up styling and stuff like that. It just is, when you're speaking from a place of experience and passion, always way better than if you were just speaking from trying to make a quick buck, because that's it's not a long-term strategy, and you're also not going to be happy doing it for very long. Probably it's going to be boring for you and you're not going to really believe in what you're doing, and that is not a recipe for success. So if you guys have any other questions, please check out the rest of the videos in this series. We are creating this to make sure that before you invest in a course, you are properly prepared to know what is expected of you and to give you some confidence to see whether this is actually the right decision for you and whether you would be successful. So additionally, you might have some extra questions. I would love to answer them for you. If you are looking for online training options or in person and you're in the Kootenays, maybe you're in Nelson, BC, Revel, Stoke, or from all over, even Salmon Arm. If you're in the States, we're half an hour from the border, so super close for in-person training, or online training is always a good option as well. In addition to checking out the rest of the videos in this course, you might want to reach out to me through Instagram. I love connecting with people. You might have some questions we didn't answer, and I would love to cover that for you. If we're not the right choice for you for training or beauty supply, then I'm a wealth of knowledge for a bunch of other things that might be a better fit for you, and I would love to connect and be able to recommend whatever might work best and be a part of your journey. So reach out to me through Instagram at elevatelash.ca. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. We'll be creating a ton more content, weekly videos for lash artists or aspiring lash artists, and all about the beauty and self-care industry. So thanks so much for joining us on this episode for Elevate Beauty Education YouTube channel and Elevate Yourself podcast. My name is Jenna, and we'll see you again next week.